Hi, beautiful friends. I keep trying to make this video and it's just not happening. So here we are. We're gonna try it again. And it's funny how telling a story makes you think about a lot of things that you either have pushed to the side or haven't thought about in a while. And you have to really think through what details of a story to share, what will actually engage somebody, what will make them think and be excited and feel what you're feeling. And I'm learning that right now. It's an interesting process learning about storytelling when I just want to tell a story and I don't want to be told what to do and nobody is telling me what to do. But the advice I am being given is crucial. And it's important because I do lose my audience a lot. ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, the inability to stay focused and stay on track it can be very debilitating at times, and it can be very frustrating and also lead to a lot of insecurities that one wishes they did not have. Anyhow, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make videos and to become better at speaking and sharing and telling stories, and to make my stories not only interesting and engaging, because honestly, according to everybody else, and even according to myself, and not in a prideful way, I've led a very interesting life. There are a lot of events that have happened in my life. I think there's a lot of events that have happened in a lot of people's lives, but I love to look at everything as an adventure. I also know I love to seek adventure, and there have been a lot of adventures in my life because of that, and the encouragement of my mom, who didn't suppress that desire, and I'm so grateful. I'm going to tell you just a list of a few of the stories that I would like to share in the future, but I am going to work on making sure that I present them in a way that is truly what people will enjoy watching. Some people enjoy just this chat, and I love that. And not that I am trying to go for the masses, but I do want to reach people's hearts, and I also want to feel very confident in what I share. Here is a timeline of events in my life, and pick one or many of them, and feel free to even ask me in the comments to specifically share one of the life events and the stories around it. I was 5 years old when my dad passed away. He was diagnosed with cancer when I was 2. And I actually have something written that I'm going to be sharing about. I'm going to be reading in a voiceover video. I really strongly feel like that's what I want to do for that. When I was 7, my Uncle Jack passed away. Now, all of these stories are adventurous. A lot of them are very deeply painful. My Uncle Jack had stepped into my dad's place and role for in a very deep way for 2 years before he passed away suddenly. And after that, a few years later, my grandma, my dad's mom, these were all on my dad's side of the family, she passed away. And I have learned so much of who I am, and the foundations of my heart came from spending time with my grandma Goodrich. I'm sorry, I'm really breathy. I'm having a hard time breathing, getting a deep breath today. Anyhow, those were 3 very important people to me, and definitely set me up for a lot of resentment, I guess, and a lot of just not believing that anybody's gonna live anymore. And that was just the start. When I was 13 years old, we started a ministry. My mom and my sister and we started a ministry for at-risk and juvenile delinquent girls with our horses. So we had kids come out from who had been in and out of juvie. They came out with YWAM, and we would host a meal and have them ride horses. And so many of them had never had a sit-down meal around a table. It was so eye-opening. And being homeschooled, very sheltered kids, it was very eye-opening to what the world held. And I'm very, very grateful for that. We ended up changing a couple years later into really working more with prevention, because all of the kids coming in were the same age as my sister and I, and it was, especially for me, intimidating, and it just didn't seem like it was the right path, like we could give as much influence with us being younger and teaching. So we really geared our focus towards younger kids. Anyhow, my sister and I ran summer camps, mini camps. We learned how to do all of that. I'm supposed to be giving a summary. See, here is where I am practicing. Not even a summary. I'm just supposed to be giving a list. I lose myself so fast because it's fun to reminisce. When I was 15, I became a vegan, and I was just trying to heal migraines that I had battled since I was 8 years old. I destroyed my thyroid, all of that. So many stories to go with that on health and healing later on. When I was 16, the boy I thought I was going to grow up and marry someday died in a car accident. We weren't dating or anything like that, but there was a true heart connection, and his mother, to this day, I love them very, very deeply. And I doubt anybody whoever knew him will ever see any of this, but I won't say names or anything like that. When I was 17, I was in a car accident and had a concussion. That was after the concussion I'd had the year before, when I was jumping one of our ponies and she flipped over and landed on my head and had a concussion with that. So that was my second concussion, I believe. Might have been my third. I don't remember anything anymore. I really, really battled depression after that for many years. When I was 18, we stepped away from the ministry, and my mom asked me what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go for my senior year. And for 3 months of my senior year, we traveled around the country in a conversion van. And it was the most incredible experience. We have so many stories and memories from that as well. When I was 19, I went to a health food center and became a raw vegan chef. And learned a lot. Also almost walked away from my faith at that point, being around a lot of people in a very, very new age movement. And was eye-opening about who you spend your time with. Later on, when I was 19, I met my husband riding my horse from Michigan to California. If you haven't heard that story, you can go find it or ask me, and I'll put it up in here. When I was 20, I got married. And there have been a lot of incredible ups and a lot of extreme downs since we've been married. It's almost 13 years now, and we're back to the very good ups, and I really feel like we're going to stay there. Okay, I just had a thought. I'm doing this rear-facing video thing, and I really hope I pushed record. I'm going to have to find out. When I had our first daughter when I was, I'm 33, so when I was 22. And then our second daughter I had 17 months later to the day. Our third daughter I had 18 months and 4 days later. And we went from a resistant hospital birth because my husband wasn't comfortable with home birth to home birth. And then in all of this time we were growing, we had property, we had a farm, we started a garlic farm, had goats, all the things, bought our daughter a pony for her 5th birthday, because that's the kind of dad my husband is, and the kind of mom I am to have asked him if we could. to 2020 when we decided, hey, let's get out of Michigan because it kind of sucks right now. And we sold our farm in Michigan and bought a camper and moved. And we went to Florida and spent 3 months at My Greener Pastures, at their property. And it was a pretty incredible thing to know somebody just from online and then be like, hey, could we come visit you? And then end up staying for 3 months because we just all drived and had such a great time. And absolutely wonderful people. And then we ended up moving to our drive with the camper. Lots of things happened. Moved to Missouri for a year. Came to Arkansas, almost joined a cult on accident. Actually, it wasn't really a cult, but many people around here think it was a cult. And there were some cult-like things, but nobody got along. So anyhow, some of my locals watch this. Yeah, the Lord saved us from that. We ended up with 7 horses, which was my husband's dream. And that is one of the stories that I keep trying to tell, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. Or I have, and then I've totally messed up recording it. And we had 7 horses. And then I got pregnant with our 4th baby, our little boy. And our pipes froze the week he was due. And we had to sell all of our horses again and move back to Michigan to live with my sister. And that was quite the experience and quite the painful time. And that was just over a year ago. And the amount of things that have happened since then, just so many things. And now we're here and it's wonderful and beautiful, and there's so many decisions to make, and it's just absolutely incredible the way God has worked and used each event in our lives to stir us into the next thing, to bring us to this moment. And I'm here with you, and I love that. So this is my very long video. I really hope I kept it under 10 minutes. I doubt it. It feels very long, and maybe someday I will get to load this when I get to town with really good Wi-Fi. All right, love you guys. Bye.